I've started
Okay.
recording.
What?
I mean, I started as
This
soon
is
as I
very
said, "You
new.
ready?"
Well, you didn't wait for me to answer, so how are
You
you supposed
said,
to?
"Yeah."
Yeah.
You said,
Oh,
"Yeah." Oh my gosh. Hey
okay.
guys.
Hey.
Oh man. So today we are going to be talking about the Bachelor series, episodes 1 through 4.
Yep.
This general summary, what are your thoughts, Rosalind? What are your thoughts?
Okay.
Just let me
Um,
ask.
my general thoughts for the show. I This is my first time watching The Bachelor, the whole
Okay.
any of the series.
Mhm.
So I enjoy it. It's really entertaining, but it is not realistic. Like it's just that I need to get over that fact, and then I can really get into the show because initially I was like, "What? Like how y'all falling in love with this dude you don't know?" Anyway, so that's just me. But overall, I'm entertained. It's doing its job at entertaining me, and seeing all these different people and their personalities and all that stuff is like it's it's a pretty good season, and the fact that it's pretty historic with Matt James being the first Black Bachelor is pretty. That's a different perspective on
Mhm.
the show.
Mhm.
But overall, I'm enjoying it. These first what 3 episodes, right?
4.
These first 3 episodes have been. Oh, this week is the fifth.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay,
Mhm.
this last 4 episodes have been pretty interesting. The drama we can get into that later, but
Mm.
overall, I like it. How about you?
Yeah. So for me, I mean, I am a Bachelor Nation, like old school fan. I was
Hmm.
there in season Sean, Emily, like all of them, John Paul, Juan Paul. He was
Hmm.
problematic. His season was problematic.
Really? Oh
Yes, girl.
gosh.
I mean, so anyway, so this season I actually wasn't going to originally watch. I had stopped watching, I think that season with John Paul, whatever, because it just kind of got annoying. But I
Yeah.
mean, like you said, it is full of they put people in situations that are over romanticized so that they'll fall in love.
Mhm.
And the show is
Mhm.
very, very it's highly produced, and like you said, it's not real, but people's emotions are still real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So even though the
Yeah.
scenarios are not likely, like there's no in real life, like most people, they don't date a man knowing that he's also dating like 30 something, 31 other women. So,
Mhm.
it's just unrealistic because it's hard for somebody to try to process that without them thinking that like you're in a deep relationship with somebody and then, you see them being with someone else and you have to be okay with that. Like that's difficult
Yeah.
that's difficult. And then a lot of times with these women they become friends, so it's like it's really a tricky situation. And honestly,
Yeah.
with that being said, I can kind of understand how some of these women are acting the way that they are. um
Mm.
but this season so far has been pretty interesting, and like you said, it is historic, even though it's like I'm like, "Ugh, he's just like regular," but I
Definitely
feel
different.
like he
Yeah.
and then I guess we're kind of going to get into this a little bit later when we talk about his character. I feel like
Mhm.
he himself is different than
Mm.
the past bachelors that I've seen. And I feel like this season is
Okay.
also especially different because it's more real than any previous season. And the reason why I say that is it was
Mm.
obviously shot during the pandemic. With this season, because of it's being shot during the pandemic, you obviously can't ignore that fact and you have to address it. So they're
Yeah.
actually talking about realistic things, world like things that actually happen in their
Are
lives
happening.
versus like this fantasy, like, oh, I've always imagined this or whatever. Like they're talking about real stuff,
Yeah.
and that is what I really appreciate and why it's really keeping my attention and why I continuing watching just that aspect of like it being more real and less fake
Yeah.
as the previous bachelors and bachelorettes.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
true. That actually is a good point. I didn't think about it like that. As far as like the reality aspects, they're not so like escapist that they'll just shut off the idea that the pandemic is happening in the world. Like
Mhm.
it's still happening there too, but they're taking precautions. So that's true. I think about it like that.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I mean, I've never watched. I have nothing to compare to as far as
Right.
other seasons. So so I'm gonna ask you this: was the drama similar in other seasons from what you previewed, or is it like pretty much the same idea of just the competition of the girls and their time and?
the
blah blah
drama
blah.
the drama is definitely the same. There's that part has not changed. Like it's always been
Okay.
about there's always the one person who causes drama in the house.
Mm,
There's always someone who may be quote unquote stealing time or trying to like it's kind of the
mm,
same. It's like that part is
mm,
not it has not changed. And one of the most cringy
yeah.
things about the show is it
Yeah.
seems like the producers have said it in a way that it's almost impossible for this man to share his time in an efficient and even manner. You know what I mean? Like the fact that they
Mm,
have to interrupt him while he's talking to another female in order to get their time. Like I feel like okay, well then give them a longer rose ceremony that so that he has enough time to speak to everyone or set it up like in a speed dating
yeah.
thing. But in reality it's not set that way. Like some women, in the show, like when they first when they're on there for like a couple of like however many days or whatever and they haven't had a chance to
Hmm.
talk to him. So it's almost as if you're not an extroverted type of person and a go-getter type of person, you're not going to have the
Yeah.
opportunity to get to talk to him unless he comes to you, because it seems like you have to go and interrupt and make that awkward. Like I don't know about you, but I would feel kind of weird about like it's a dude
Yeah.
that I like but then he talked to somebody else and like having to go and be like, and you don't have a monopoly on his time because you know that he's also
Yes.
in that relationship. That's kind of like a
Yep.
weird scenario and these girls are like on it and it's just
Yeah.
crazy.
That is, and that's the one thing I can't like wrap my head around as far as like three things. One, the whole competition aspect. I don't know if it's just because the fact that they have to interrupt someone else's time in order to get time. And I'm
Mhm.
like, so for me, the question that like comes to my mind is that if you have to compete for this man, is the romance real?
Mhm.
Does that make sense? Because like
Mhm.
true, and okay, in a real context, some when people are dating, they can be dating multiple people at the
Mhm.
same time. If you guys aren't exclusive, that's okay, right? It's not cheating.
Mhm. Mhm.
But in this context of this show, like I feel like he can't. The Bachelor is going on each date saying the same stuff, kissing every girl. No,
Mhm.
damn, you're making out, right?
Mhm.
And I'm like, I'm sorry. Maybe it's just I'm just fragile, but I don't think I would question everything that is encountered between us if everything is you're saying this it's like a formula. It's
Mhm.
very formulaic about how he's going on with these girls. And I get it, it's a tough position to be in, but that's what makes me question, is the romance really real? Like is the connection being made really real between these people? Because like how? Like, I can't but so that was my one first point.
Yeah.
But two, also, is are the producers does The Bachelor, or I guess Bachelorette, whichever show you're watching, have a lot of agency within the show? Because like let's say a girl like Victoria, the queen, self-proclaimed, says like interrupts someone. Does The Bachelor have the agency to say no? Because that's what for me, I was kind of like iffy. I'm like, if you know for sure this is this girl's time and this was her time and this
Mhm.
girl's interrupting it, are you just going to passively be like, because of chivalry or whatever code you think this is, or because of producers' influence, is that why he's not stepping in and being like, hey, actually, let me finish with her, then
Mhm.
I'll get to you? You
Mhm.
see, that's why I'm like, I'm part of like, okay, I'm looking at him sideways. I'm not looking at the girl who interrupted because she's like you said, her personality, her character is like that. That's the only way you get time. That's what she's fulfilling her role. But if,
Mhm.
if the Bachelor, out of fairness, if you really care for all these women and you're trying to give them the same opportunity, why would you let someone interrupt them? You're not just a doll being thrown around.
Mhm.
So that's why I'm like, I kind of look at the Bachelor side as I'm like, okay, like, do you like her more or are you just trying to be polite? I don't know. So, can you answer that for me? Do you know how
You
much
know, I don't
of
I
other
don't
seasons and
know.
stuff?
Honestly, it's really funny because you bring out a good point because he could easily like say something and be like, okay, well,
Yeah.
let's finish and then I'll come over and talk to you. But I feel like
Yeah.
maybe with Matt James specifically, he's just a little bit more polite. I can't think of a time in the
Mm,
past where a bachelor or bachelorette has like stood in and decided. So I'm guessing that
mm,
maybe in production, pre-production, they tell them that in order to get that time, you have to create that time, and he's not
Effort.
gonna.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, but it's like I said, it's a very cringy process, and that to me also seems so like
Yeah.
it's weird. Matt James.
Mhm.
So everybody's going crazy, obviously, because he's the first Black Bachelor. And, I'm like, okay, he's an attractive man. He's not the most attractive man, but he's not ugly. Like, if I would see him in the street, I'd be
Mhm.
like, oh, he's cute, you know, and
Yeah.
and he also has, very Christian faith, which is very important to him because that was the first time that I've ever seen a bachelor pray over the situation,
Mhm.
and I don't know if that
Yeah.
was a
That
part
was sweet.
of. It was sweet. I liked it. I think one thing that I can say is that Matt, he truly tries to act in the best, like whatever is truest to him, and I feel like he
Yeah.
does it the best way he can, giving the fact that I'm pretty sure that they are telling him in the back, like, what they kinda want to see from him.
Yeah.
So I thought that that was very interesting. He also he's very this season, for what I've seen so far, he's very involved with the girls' drama, and
Mm.
I don't think that I've really ever seen that to this extent. Like, there's been drama in the house always, but I don't think that I've
Mhm.
ever seen the bachelor himself address said drama, like as a whole and as much as he says that he is. And I feel like he's kind of juvenile in how he's dealing with it. I feel like it's kind of I get he's trying to get to the bottom of it and resolve the problem, but I don't know if he's going about it the right way. So, I
Okay.
don't know. I think he's trying, but I feel like there could be a better way to handle it. Maybe you would know that too. But
Yeah.
overall, I
Yeah.
think overall I think that he seems like a genuine person. But I feel like some people, like, in order to even be on the show, you have to lose some genuineness a little bit, because you got
Mhm.
to put on a show, you got to put on a character.
Mhm.
But I
Mhm.
think that he is a very sweet individual. And I believe he's there really trying to find his person. I feel like outside of him being the first Black Bachelor, though, there's not much to him. Like, he's just a normal person. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, he's
Mhm.
like, oh, he's shy. I guess, when they put on these shows, they try to find those characters that the audience can connect with. And, like, his main thing is that he's half white, half Black, raised in a single
Yeah.
family home. And yeah, so he just really never seen that version of true love. And so that's like his thing, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
it's not new, but I guess it's new to Bachelor Nation with the fact that he's Black. But and then, okay, so let's just talk about the his initial conversation that he has with Chris, in
Uh-huh.
regards to him being Black, and him trying to, what's the word, trying to appeal or appease the Black community, the
Audience.
white
Mhm.
community, and all of that,
Mhm.
because I felt that was an interesting conversation to have. um
Mhm. Yeah.
and obviously he made it necessary, because he made the conversation necessary because he felt like he needed to say that, so that however the show ended, he basically put
Yeah.
that out there. Well, I said, this, that, and the third.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I was
Yeah.
just like, for
Yeah.
me, when I watched it, even though I watched it already with the premonition of what you told me on the side, I was like, okay,
Mhm.
I see what he's trying to say. And I guess he just feels like a lot of pressure or whatever. But
Mm.
I don't know. I feel like it's not about your Blackness or your whiteness. If you're here to find love, that's the focus. And he made it about his
Exactly.
Blackness and whiteness. Because just like
Yeah.
Obama was the first president, okay, and so yeah, he could have probably felt that pressure from the Black community, like, what are you going to do with us? But that's because that's part of his job, to look out for the American
Yeah.
people. You know what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
if you're going on a
Yeah.
show to find love, your job is to not worry about whoever else.
All that
Okay,
stuff.
you're supposed to
Yeah.
be focusing
Yeah.
on you finding love.
So, yeah, I completely agree. Um about well, okay, my overview about Matt James is that yep, he's attractive. Yes, he's tall. Yes, he's athletic, tall, dark, and handsome. The whole deal, the whole spiel that all the girls are saying, right? Similarly to you, like his personality is yeah, like there's nothing. You're like, right? He's just an ordinary person, and I guess the biggest thing they were holding on to was that racial identity of his mixed race.
Mhm.
But and I think like he is trying his best to handle those situations, and I for me what I can pinpoint is like how he dropped the ball on trying to help those situations was like I don't know if it's just the show and nervousness, but
Mhm.
he kind of just took that whole debacle with I think Mary Lynn and Victoria like was just it was so one-sided. Like he was like,
Mhm.
oh, there's an issue, this girl's causing drama, let me go fix it. But what he did was just automatically believe Victoria. He didn't
Mhm.
actually get both sides of the story. It was like such a horrible, it's like you see a judge just do the like the most not just thing, and it's obviously that's not his role to be a judge, but at the same time he was
That's what
trying
he's
to be
acting.
helpful, but it was so not.
Mhm.
So even though I don't know the situation because they obviously didn't show us the backstory of whatever conversation her with Victoria had, but it was just very like one-sided. And so I was like, don't, if you're not gonna do it right, don't do it. Just leave yourself, take yourself out of it if you don't. Anyway,
Yeah.
so that was one thing I was like, why is he not gonna ask her what happened? But she just cried, and that was that. And then she was went home, I guess.
Right.
Um, but so that was that. That was when Victoria stated herself as the mean girl of the house.
Mhm.
But so as far back to Matt James, the big thing about his like racial identity after what he said to what's the host name?
Chris
Chris
Harrison.
something. Yeah, Chris Harrison. And he's like you, like I feel like it was almost it was a disclaimer, like, oh, just don't tell, I didn't warn you, like,
Yeah.
but I think I just had the thought of like him being from a mixed race but raised by a single mother and his mother is white. There is a lot of influence that comes with who he might pick, and there's no judgment on that. It's just
Mhm.
true. Most likely he might, be more attracted to a woman who reminds him of his mother. That's his prerogative, that's his preference. But I feel like him trying to appease both communities is like kind of exactly like I really agree with what you said. Like that's not your role. Like
Mhm.
compared to Obama, this is not your role to appease both audiences. You're here to do what's best for you. You just happen to be black. It's like
Yeah.
that mentality, your race shouldn't matter type thing.
Yeah.
But um, so I overall he's like a good person, very kind, chivalrous. Really tries to do the right thing. Um, but this is an abnormal situation for anyone, and I think this show kind of simplifies something that's not very simple, and then makes it a competition.
Mhm.
Yeah, so I'm on the fence about this whole concept. But I'm definitely entertained. So I'm not
Yes.
gonna take that away from the show.
It's a
I'm
great
definitely
show.
entertained. I'm here for the tea, the mess of it all.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
yeah, could we talk about the girl next?
Yes, the
That girl
girls.
they dedicated a whole episode to. Because I'm gonna be
Oh,
harsh, and I don't feel guilty about it. I don't care how nobody else feels
you
about
talking
it.
about oh gosh, what was her name?
So in the end, I know it. I just saw.
Oh, I found an article that I need to save so I can remember these girls' names. Let me see.
Oh, her name is Sarah.
Is that her
Sarah. She's
name?
24 years old.
She's
Yeah.
24?
So yeah,
Okay, so
she looks much older.
how old is Matt
So
James?
Matt, sorry, he's 28.
Okay, so Sarah, let's talk about that episode.
Let me start. Let me start.
Yes,
I'm sorry.
please bless
Okay.
us.
Okay. So Sarah, sweet Sarah, and like all sympathy to her situation. I understand it was really tough. I think dedicating that whole episode, I don't know if that was just me, but I was tired of seeing Sarah cry. I was tired of seeing her crying face on the screen. And then, like every 2 seconds, oh, this is so hard for me. You don't understand. But like everyone's in the same situation you are, right? Not exactly the exact same with what's going on at home, but this is a difficult situation So like for her to be just like, woe is me, crying every 2 seconds. And like, I mean, I'm glad she made the decision to leave. And if that's what she felt was best for her and her family to go back home, because it was a very hard situation. But for her to like, she's kind of like, oh, my connection with Matt is so different from everyone's. And I think it was. He seemed pretty affected. And maybe their one on one date was just so spectacular. That's between them. But at the same time, it was like that whole episode, like she's crying, then she goes, walks all the way to interrupt their date. It was just like, if I see this girl cry one more time, it was so irritating. I was like, I needed her at the end to be like, make a decision. You need to just stop crying and make a decision and leave. Like if you don't want to be here.
Mhm.
So Sarah really got under my skin. I just don't. It's the you can cry. I have nothing against showing your emotions, but like at some point, if this is self and you're doing it to yourself. So if you're unhappy, you take yourself out of that unhappy situation because that you put yourself in. So I just really had, I did not want to see her cheers anymore. I had like, and I was like, no. And she made the right decision. Like, go be with your family and with your father. You know, like this show is not that deep. Like, I'm confused. Anyway, I was her whole situation. I was like, why are you here? I
Okay.
guess it's for fame, but
Yeah.
that's
So
me. I did not want to see her cry anymore.
overall, I was actually very surprised at how young some of these girls are. Okay. And now that I'm
Yes,
seeing that Sarah's 24, I'm like, okay. So
makes
so
sense.
Sarah, you're right. I feel like she said, this is what she told Matt,
Yeah,
that
24
she took off of work, or she quit her job to go home and be a caregiver for her
to take care of
father.
father. Mm-hmm.
So to me, that says that you were wanted to be there for him, and like they said, the disease, you have little time to live. So I get that,
Yeah,
and I understand.
yeah.
And now she's like, okay, well, I have this opportunity. I need to go and see and explore or whatever. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that she made the best decision. Okay, because obviously it affected her,
Mm-mm.
but I will say, like the girls said, all of the girls are feeling that way. I feel like what was
That
really hard
pressure.
for her was because she said that she had someone in her past who cheated on her, and so she has infidelity issues. And so when
Mm-hmm.
she sees Matt with other women, that kind of just comes back to her mind or whatever, right? But like you said, everybody is going through the
Mm-hmm.
same thing. It's nothing different,
Yeah,
nothing special, or whatever. And I'm glad that she
yeah.
finally made a decision to go. I was sad actually because in the beginning I actually liked Sarah. She was one of my favorite girls because Matt and she seemed to have a very good
They clicked.
connection. And
Yeah.
I honestly was like, oh, really? She's gonna go home. Oh, okay. Well, bye. Like, I mean, it's sad, but like there's other girls and I'm just like, yes, I want him
Yeah,
in them. You know what I mean? But I just feel like
yeah.
overall part of the reason why it's the way that the show is right now is because, like I said, the girls are young. Okay. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Early 20s, almost all of them.
Yeah, exactly.
21.
And he's
Oh gosh.
28. And so I'm like, okay, like one of the girls, yeah, it's 21. And
Yeah.
Kit, she's 21.
Yeah.
And I
I was
love
like,
Kit. And when she
y'all.
came in, she was like, yes, with the flurry dress. But yeah, it's just really crazy. It's just really crazy. I was just
Not
like,
like that dress. I'm not gonna lie.
it
I
was
didn't like that dress.
it was different. And she was a
It was
fashion person,
different.
so it made sense.
Yeah. It was,
Yeah. Yeah. So Sarah, that whole episode, yeah, about Sarah, I did not though appreciate how the house was treating her though. Like they was talking about her. That was toxic. And the
yeah.
fact that the other girl who at first was talking to her like, yo, why are you interrupting our time? You know, the fact that she came up there and she had a conversation with her and really, whatever, I was like, okay.
Yeah. That was real cool for like
Yeah.
her, what's her name? Katie?
Yes,
I
Katie.
actually wrote down Katie, like I admire, and you know what? She's one of the older ones. She's 29.
Yes,
So that's how
exactly.
you know, like she moves like a mature person. She moves
Yes.
like she got sense.
She is
That this is not that deep. Like
right.
you're not gonna Victoria. I think one Victoria was the obviously the ringleader of that bullying, but it
Yeah.
was toxic energy. But at the same time, I was feeling for the girls who really were pissed because for like if they're all everyone in there, every girl in there had the same idea of that they're gonna really get to spend time with Matt and really get connect and see what clicks.
Mhm.
So for what's her name? Sarah. I'm sorry, that name is not
It
doesn't
doesn't
look
look
like
like she
she
looks
doesn't
like a
look like a
Chelsea.
Sarah. Yeah, it's like a Chelsea, a Stephanie, something like that. Anyway, but so everyone's having that same hope. So for Sarah to come in and interrupt and get more time, and then on top of that, use her sympathy and her tears to get more time.
Mhm.
I understand how the house was actually dead ass pissed because of so many girls who didn't even get a chance to open their mouth and speak to this guy.
Yeah.
So I can relate how aggravated and quite frankly irritated because there's a certain level of entitlement that Sarah came in with. For her to
Mhm.
interrupt that girl's time and then catch this attitude when interrupted the whole date, the whole group date, not just her own people, her
Oh,
another group's date.
mhm.
So for me, I was like, you're not respecting the rules.
Mhm.
And obviously, clearly, the production had a big part to play because how the hell did she know where this group date was
Right,
without
they obviously
directions?
told her.
So,
It just happens,
yeah,
and
for
so
sure.
okay, right. Okay, so let me just give the benefit of the doubt. Since it is COVID, obviously a lot of their dates, I don't know if Bachelor rented out a whole entire resort or what happened, but they're all in the same
Mhm.
place because you remember they could see some of the dates from the house. So maybe
True.
she saw, or maybe the girls when they got back home, because they got to go home to change from the activity. So maybe they told her, oh,
Yeah,
like, we're going over to that house to, so maybe she knew that's how she knew,
maybe.
but they still allowed
True.
her to go. They didn't like call
Yeah.
her back. And so I was like, okay, is she really?
But they gonna interrupt because of this crying again, and she did it before. And on top of that, I mean, I'm not gonna say that faint was fake, but
That was a lot.
she clearly had some issues.
And then
Like
I was like,
something was going on.
why is she
Like,
fainting?
why is she fainting? Maybe she just felt like I don't know. But
Maybe she
I
ain't eat.
think I can understand the anger that the girls were feeling. And one of them made a good point. She said, if she came up, it's not the fact she did it. It's the fact that now she's hiding in her room. So it's like you need to, if you did what you did and you for her to go interrupt and then after the fact come to apologize to that group for interrupting the date, it was that's when I started looking at her like, is she playing them? Is she being manipulative and using she's doing that victim, like I'm gonna guilt trip you because I'm the victim type card.
Mhm.
That's what I that's why I could not stand her tears because I couldn't place like, is she really being is she naturally this emotional or is this
Mhm.
a game for her to get ahead? Because with
Mhm.
Matt, with men, I mean, not to generalize, but that whole she's playing into that whole help me, I am weak or I'm
Yeah.
fragile and I'm
Yeah.
gonna cry and crumble if you don't hold me tight. So
Yeah.
that's why I was like, oh, you're playing a different game
Yeah.
from these girls so you can get mass attention. So that's why I was like, oh, I don't know if she's a good person or just playing games. So when she left, I was pleasantly surprised because like, wow, so she really, really wasn't feeling
It
well.
wasn't
And
just
when
an
she was in the
actual
car
game.
ride, she said, I'm not okay. Like my mental health is more important. That's why I was like, oh snap. So when she left, I was happy for her.
Yeah, she made a great decision.
But yeah. So the house being toxic, I don't agree with the toxicity, but I understood the anger because a
Mhm.
lot of girls were robbed of time. So, but I
Yeah,
do
but
admire
like
Katie. She's
I
a
was
real
more
one.
so referring to like after she had left and they were still chatting about her.
Oh yes. Ugh,
Like that was like, okay, come on now, guys. So,
yeah.
but yeah, but like this, the toxicity, it continues and it's continuing, especially with the new girls coming in. Um, it's just I was just like,
Unnecessary. Unnecessary. But that date with Michelle, I thought that was the best one. And I thought they had the most chemistry because they were talking about real stuff. Like true with Brie and like all the other people, like the other mixed girl, they're talking about, they're both mixed and how it was growing up without a father, etc.
I like
But
her.
it I love Brie. Brie is great. I'm just
Bree
saying, but
is
as
my
far as the
favorite.
date, the of other ones, she was
Yeah.
my top favorite until Michelle came. When I
Wow.
saw the way she connected with Matt, I was like, this is really like they really genuinely had fun. Like he
Yeah.
looked like he was comfortable. It wasn't like a, oh, I'm gonna try and be like, this guy. He was actually just talking about his life, like she was
Yeah.
too, and she was a
Yeah.
teacher. It was just very
They
chill.
had
It felt like a real date. So
they had honestly they had like out of the conversations, I think that they had the most They were the most open, and like they talked about the
Yeah.
most real things, because I remember she was talking about, yeah, she's a teacher. Am I wrong? Is she the
Yeah,
teacher?
yeah, she's a
So
teacher.
she was
Mm-hmm.
talking
You're right.
about her students and how she was trying to deal with her, trying to comfort her students during the George Floyd
Yeah.
whole thing, and like it's just really difficult,
Yeah.
And I thought that
Yeah.
they really they really connected really well, and like I
Yeah.
actually was not expecting that to happen. Like I really wasn't expecting them to grow
Me
the way that they
either.
did, because
What do you think about Jess? Matt's how do I say this politely?
okay, let's yeah, you're talking about Matt's mannerisms.
That too. But I had another question. Let's talk about that first.
Okay,
Matt's
I Matthew James. He I think that his love language is physical touch. I think that
yeah.
he shows the way he cares about you by let me
Hmm.
and like
Yeah.
I feel like he was not afraid. Like most bachelors, they'd be like, I don't want to be kissing on your body, yada yada. He was like every single way, every single time. And sometimes it's just
During a panoramic.
like
Crazy.
it's like, and then the way that he goes in to kiss these women, I don't know why, but it just seems
Bruh.
so awkward to me. It's just kind of like, I don't know if this because they edit it this way, but it just seems like she could be saying something really profound and like, yeah, and so that's when my father got cancer or something like that. And then
And then she's
like
like,
they look and then he's like
yes.
that was
And
not
on
the
top of
moment.
that, are you gonna say what I think you're gonna say?
On top of that, when he is kissing these women,
On
his eyes are open.
it's
His
so
eyes
weird.
are open. Okay? Like,
His eyes are open
it's so
like a
cringy.
psychopath.
He is
It's
like
so
he's like
creepy.
and then
I
on
think
top of
it's
that,
creepy.
it's so bad. It's so uncomfortable because every time I'm looking at it, it's like he's like his eyes are open but like slightly, so like you can see his eyes and like the way the camera is, you can see,
Yes.
and I'm just like
You can see his eyes like just
it's
I
it's
can't look at it
stressful.
for too long. I get scared. Hmm. But
So in summary, like who do you see making it to like the final, like I don't want to say the final four, because so like what happens is it keeps going to
hmm
the point where they actually
hmm
go on vacation, and then that's when you get to like the fantasy suite week. Like, so who do you think are going to make it long term based off of how you're feeling right now?
to be honest, I think Michelle is definitely one of those four. That date
Hmm.
went so well that it was like
Hmm.
a connection. It looked like a connection. I would say um so Michelle, Bree. I feel like Bree's gonna find a way somewhere. She's always in the background, but when she comes back, he's always very affectionate to her. Um, as fun as Victoria is, she's not saying. I don't. She serves no purpose. Even their chemistry is not real. It's just her whining about something. It's not.
What?
Com- she's just like drama. But Lauren, I want her to stay, but I don't think they have too much because he's the one who gave her the rose for the connection to like their faith. She's Christian. She was the one who just like he was really vibing with on that level, the spiritual
Hmm.
level. She's like, "Oh, I love that you prayed because that's a really big part of who I am." Da, 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 da. They had a nice moment, and he gave her the rose. Yeah.
Like for one person that I would like to like, she's very vocal in that she has a lot of interviews and says a lot during the group chat, but I don't really know about her relationship with Matthew, is MJ.
Mhm.
She's the girl with the long blonde curly
Hey.
hair. I would like to
Yeah.
see her interact with him more, and I don't see that
Yeah.
enough. One
Yeah.
another girl is Maggie, the Ethiopian girl. Like they've interacted a little
Yeah.
bit. I don't know it, and I'm
Hey,
looking here. She's
oh my
32.
gosh.
The
Yeah,
dancing,
I think she's
dancing.
the oldest. Yeah.
Yeah,
That dancing. They set him up.
they really did. There was no music. They
I
could at
had
least
to
put some
look
music.
away. They could at least have put some beat. They played him.
They really
And
did.
Maggie's so cute. She was just like,
Yay!
yay!
I don't know.
Like,
I don't really see
okay.
that going anywhere though.
Yeah, I don't think it is. Because I think there's also like a
A
language barrier to a
cultural
degree.
language
She's not
barrier.
she's
Mm.
yeah, cultural and language, but I think mainly she obviously speaks English, but I don't think she's as she gets her point across sometimes. You can see he has like a blank stare
I don't know that
sometimes when
he's
she's the little parts they've shown.
I don't know. For me, I think that obviously love my girl Brie. I'm here for her.
Yeah.
I'm here for Michelle
Yeah.
now. Brie and Michelle, I really like Katie. I think
Mm-hmm.
that they have a pretty good relationship. Although I'm worried because Katie is seemingly a little too concerned about the girls and their drama that she's not focusing on her relationship with Matt. Let's see. And what's the other girl? I like Serena P. I like their relationship. I thought they had some chemistry, but just the fact that she is 22 just kind of like makes me feel like he's going to see her later as like somebody who's not as um ready for marriage or
Mm,
whatever.
true.
But anyways,
I guess.
yeah,
So you said Brie, Michelle,
Serena
Katie,
P
Serena
and
P.
Katie.
Four.
I
Okay.
think he has a
Okay.
good
Yeah.
relationship with I think her name is Abigail too. I think yeah. Well,
Abigail. Abigail.
oh
Who's
yeah,
that?
Abigail. This is she's 25. Let me show you.
Oh yeah. But after the first date, they didn't. There was
They
nothing
didn't
else
talk
with
about.
like with her like that.
So,
Okay.
anyways, any closing remarks on the season thus far? I think that they left us on a cliffhanger as far as him going to address
The
the
drama.
group regarding the
Mhm.
drama. So, any
Mhm.
kind of prospects or like predictions or just closing remarks that you have?
Um. The only thing I'd say is I'm excited for the end. I'm excited to see how everything unfolds with him and these girls. Hope that there's no more petty drama and more real conversations because I think the show has potential. This season has potential to really be like a real, like, this is real stuff. So I think I'm excited. That's the only thing. I'm just excited to see what happens. And hopefully everyone can be their authentic self.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I
How about
think
you?
for me, um, so this season has definitely been entertaining. I think that
Mm-hmm.
moving forward, I think that the drama will continue. Um, but
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll change. It won't be petty stuff. It'll just be different stuff. I don't know what may occur, but I feel like there's I mean in the clips that they show at some point that he's crying. So to me that seems like
Yeah.
he gets really attached to someone and I wonder if it's because somebody decides to go home or or something,
Yeah.
you know. So,
Yeah.
anyways, but as far as like closing remarks, I don't know. It's been very entertaining. I'm curious how this is going to be different. If he's actually going to end up with somebody, serious, or if it's just going to be like one of those things where he doesn't find anybody. I feel like with him, a bachelor like him, like he get it together eventually. But like he said in the
Mhm.
beginning, that he doesn't naturally open up so and I wish
Yeah.
we could get more into that. Like I wish one of these girls would actually like realize one of my things. I wish the girls would actually realize that it's not just about him choosing you. It's about you choosing him and you asking
Mhm.
him,
Yes.
questions so that you can get to know him equally. Like you obviously are
Yeah.
sharing this information. And like kind of like with his date with Sarah, he saw that Sarah was holding back on information regarding her dad. Like she was kind of walking around the topic. And he was just like, yeah, we got to get
Yeah.
down to the bottom of that. Like he wants these women to be very, very open and transparent with him. But I feel like there's not a lot of that in return. And I'm hoping that
Yes.
one of the older women, because I feel like those are the ones that are going to notice that, will be
Mhm.
like, so tell me, what are some fears you have about relationships and why, like that kind
Yeah.
of thing. So
Yeah.
I'm hoping that there's going to be more of that to make it more real and for
Mhm.
me personally to actually be enthralled in the relationship and interested, because right now I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
it's just kind of surface for me. Like the girls are
Yeah.
great, some of them, but like he's just kind of like floating.
Yes. Yes. Exactly. And I think to touch on that point real quick, just the fact that there's no depth, I think that's where the competition aspect plays because the girls don't feel comfortable enough to question him and his level of sharing because they're the ones who are told when to leave. So that's
Yeah.
why I'm like the competitive aspect is what I'm like. I can see them not being like, oh, thinking of it of a as a reciprocal, relationship more than a, oh, I want you to want me. So I don't know. I don't know. It's sad because you're right. That's how a relationship should be, and no one's questioning him and how much he's sharing with them.
Hmm.
Interesting stuff. This show is definitely food for thought
Yeah.
when it comes to
Definitely.
relationships.
Definitely
Hmm.
something to discuss and, just view and just see what's going
And
on.
be entertained.
Be entertained. I mean, honestly, that's what I'm here
Yeah.
for. I'm here to be
Yes.
entertained. I'm not really here to learn no life lessons from this show. Like, ain't nothing I can
Yep.
learn but like how to plan a great date. If
Right.
you got that money, that salty,
Yeah.
that
Right.
dinero. You all, thank you for tuning into this video.
Yes. That was a long one because we had a lot of episodes to fit in.
Yes, it
But
was. It was. But thank you for sticking around to the end. If you like to see more
yes,
videos, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe
you
button.
know,
Make
get
sure you
it
turn on the
together.
notifications and
Yes,
like the video. Share the video, comment, tell us your thoughts. Tell us if we did a good enough job to summarize all 4 episodes. We obviously did not get into the
that part.
toxicity that is Queen Victoria and her actions, but I
Hmm.
feel like
Hmm.
everybody has already kind of covered that. What we
Yeah,
want to
if you
do
know, you
is
know.
right. What we want to do is basically pull out the actual realness and what could be real about the show and discuss it
Yeah,
on in a realistic terms, and if it's actually a productive way to get to know somebody. And that's basically what we're
yeah.
here to do, you know.
Hmm. Give our
So,
2 cents and see where you guys can also relate to how we think. Are we the only ones? Is this
yeah.
unique, or
Yeah. Yeah.
no?
Yeah.
We all think the same ideas. So actually, also comment down below who you think you'll end up with, because that'll be a little nice little bet.
Maybe we can put in
No
a
money,
make it I was about to
passion.
say, make it an actual thing. Make it an actual draw and be like 5 on Brie or 5 on like
Right?
you know. But
Yes.
anyways, thank you guys again for watching this video. We'll talk to
Yes.
you
Thank
soon.
you. Yeah. Bye.
Bye.